Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, I want to wish everyone here a belated Merry Christmas to all of you. And before we take up official business, Mr. President, I'd just like to put on record and to this body that it was Senator JV Ejercito's birthday a few days ago. Ganyan na lang po yan, bati na lang. Happy birthday. Mr. President, it was his birthday a few days ago, December 26th to be exact. With that, Mr. President, today is a very important day, and we thank our colleagues for being here today as we are in receipt of the Bicameral Conference Committee report on the disagreeing votes of House Bill number 4058. This is the General Appropriations Bill for fiscal year 2026. I move, Mr. President, that we recognize as sponsor the chairperson of the Senate panel, no other than Senator Win Gatchalian, to present the highlights of the said measure. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Chair is done. Senator Sherwin Gatchalian is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Majority Leader. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, as the lead conferee of the Senate panel, I have the honor of submitting for ratification a copy of the Conference Committee report on the disagreeing votes on House Bill number 4058. Here are some of the highlights of the Conference Committee report for the 2026 national budget. The first highlight belongs to education. We have stayed true to our mission to make education the biggest investment of the 2026 budget. This bicameral conference committee arrived at a total education budget of 1.35 trillion pesos. We have said this before, and we will say it again. This is a historic 4.4% of GDP. Higit sa mga numerong nakasulat sa papel, ang mga inisyatibong mabibigyan ng buhay at ang mga suliraning matutugunan ng pondong ito. Magkakaroon na ng malinaw at makabuluhang hakbang para mabawasan ang kakulangan sa mga silid-aralan. Milyong-milyong mga mag-aaral ang dumaranas ng malnutrisyon ang makikinabang sa school-based feeding program at sisiguraduhin natin ang bawat estudyante ay may sariling textbook. Second, we have strengthened the budget of health. The total health sector budget now stands at 447.6 billion. More importantly, the budget of PhilHealth has increased to 129.78 billion, posting a 15% increase relative to the HGAB level, with the additional 16.5 billion coming from the realignment of the budget of the Department of Public Works and Highways. I thank Finance Committee Vice Chairperson Senator Pia Cayetano and Senator Lauren Legarda, as well as Senator Rizzo Ontiveros, for fighting hard for this recommendation. We have also increased the funding for zero-balance billing in our DOH hospitals and expanded the program to include selected local government units. Funding for specialty hospitals was also augmented, both for the procurement of essential medical equipment and the improvement of their services to the public. Mula sa ating silid-aralan at ospital, totoo naman tayo sa sektor ng agrikultura. Sa 2026, umabot na sa 214.39 billion peso para sa sektor. Ito ang pinakamataas na budget ng agrikultura sa loob ng mahigit isang dekada. Mapopondohan na ng maayos ang mga programang tutulong sa kita ng ating magsasaka at sa food security ng ating bansa, gaya ng credit insurance at direktang access sa merkado. Layunin ng budget na ito na iangat ang kalidad ng buhay ng mga taong nagdadala ng pagkain sa ating mga hapag. Maraming salamat kay Senator Kiko Pangilinan sa rekomendasyong ito. In keeping with the people-centered nature of this budget, support for social services remains strong. We have increased the funding of the National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Fund to 39.8 billion, or an increase of 10.5 billion compared to the HGAB level. This includes the 4.2 billion peso realignment from the DPWH, thanks to the firm stand of your Senate to reflect the true cost of construction materials in the DPWH budget. Mr. President, these highlights illustrate our commitment to strengthening the services that carry the most significant impact on the daily lives of our fellow Filipinos. Better education for our children, adequate health care for those in need, and long-term food security for our communities. As these priorities take shape, the Bicameral Conference Committee was also very deliberate in ensuring that equal attention was given to protecting the management of public funds through safeguards that are anchored on transparency and accountability. This was evident from start to finish. All 5 days of the bicameral conference were live streamed, and the discussions are open to anyone who wants to view them. Transparency portals contain all budget documents. Another first is involving civil society organizations. This strengthens public oversight. Specific provisions protect public funds against abuse. For example, all infrastructure projects are now required to have station numbers and clear geographic coordinates that these projects can be tracked and verified on the ground. Where specific sectoral allotments address the needs of our people, these safeguards protect the integrity of the budget process itself. But the ultimate safeguard is our collective vigilance, the shared responsibility to ensure that every peso serves its intended purpose. What we have started this year has gone through birth pains at sigurado akong marami pa tayong leksyon na matututunan. Numpisan na po natin ang mga reforma para sa isang bukas na proseso sa budget. Ang mahalaga ay magpatuloy, magpursige at huwag magpatinag sa dating gawi at baluktot na sistema. I would like to acknowledge and thank everyone who made this budget see the light of day. I thank our counterparts in the House of Representatives under the leadership of Speaker Boji D and Committee on Appropriations Chairperson Micaela Swansing. This was truly a collaborative effort, and I am glad that in the end, we can look back at what we have done and say that the 2026 budget is a budget that responds to the needs and aspirations of our countrymen. To my fellow bicameral conference committee conferees, Senator Lauren Legarda, Senator Pia Cayetano, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, Senator JV Ejercito, Senator Mark Villar, Senator Erwin Tulfo, Senator Camille Villar, Senator Bato de la Rosa, Senator Bongo, and Senator Aimee. Thank you for tirelessly poring over each line, scrutinizing every decision, and more importantly, constantly going back to the values of public trust and service. And finally, I would like to thank our Senate leadership, Senate President Vicente Soto III, Senate President Pro Tempore Panfilo Lacson, Senate Majority Leader Juan Miguel Zubiri. Your leadership by example has always been instrumental to the Senate, and your constant guidance was pivotal in crafting a budget that we can all truly be proud of. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, it is truly an honor to serve this chamber with you and continue to work together. Mr. President, the comprehensive details of the reconciled version are reflected in the joint explanation of the Conference Committee on Disagreeing Votes on House Bill number 4058. With the permission of the body, I move that the said explanation be read in toto into the record, and that the Conference Committee report on the disagreeing votes on House Bill number 4058 be ratified. Thank you, Mr. President, and good afternoon, dear colleagues.
Yes, thank you. And all these are found in the Senate website. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. President, it's all of the reports, including the details, the annexes, will be found in the Senate Transparency Portal, Mr. President.
Transparency portal. All right. Thank you for that. Very good.
Thank you,
Majority
Mr.
Leader.
President. Yes, Mr. President. Before we act on the motion of the good chairperson of the committee, several members would like to deliver the explanation of vote after we vote
Yes,
on the measure.
perhaps
It's going to be
after,
viva
so that-
voce, Mr. President. So
Yes,
I move that we approve and ratify the conference committee report on the disagreeing votes on House Bill number 4058. I so move. Mr. President.
Any objection? Chair is none. The Conference Committee report on the disagreeing votes on House Bill 4058 is hereby approved and ratified.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President,
Majority
we
Leader.
have 4 colleagues who wish to explain their votes. It's in this order: Senator Ejercito, Senator Legarda, Senator Marcoleta, and Senator Risa Ontiveros. May we recognize
Yeah.
our distinguished Deputy Majority Floor Leader first.
Before we do that,
Yes.
just for the record, because I just received a note from the President Pro Tem, Senator Ping Lacson. He voted yes with strong reservations regarding the MAIP and the AIX, just to manifest
Yes.
that the national budget must not be a political tool and free from political exploitation. We just want to place that on record.
Okay, Mr. President.
But the
And if
vote
he
is
wants to
in
send
the
an
positive.
Yes, Mr.
Yeah.
President, he can also send a explanation of vote for the record to the Secretariat to put to
Yes,
place.
we will ask him to do that. Senator JV Ejercito, the Assistant Deputy Majority Leader, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dear colleagues, I favor a vote to the ratification of the Bicameral Conference Committee report with reservations. My reservation arises from the steep rise in the budget allocated for the MAIFIP, which has doubled compared to the amount requested in the National Expenditure Program. I initially raised this concern through my written manifestation during the bicameral conference. Ayon sa Universal Healthcare Law, hindi na dapat problemahin ng pasyente ang pambayad sa pagpapa-ospital. Wala na siyang dapat intindihin kundi ang magpagaling. Kaya nga ang social funds ng PCSO at PAGCOR ay pinagsama na sa isang General Universal Healthcare Fund para hindi na pumila ang mga tao sa iba't ibang ahensya. Kaya ang MAIFIP, bagamat ito ay sa totoo lang nakatulong din habang isi na sa ayos ang Universal Healthcare Law, ay unti-unti na sana nating i-reallocate ang pondo sa MAIFIP para mas mabigyan ng oportunidad na mapataas ang benepisyo at coverage ng PhilHealth at masuportahan ang pag-implementa ng zero balance billing. Kumbaga, Mr. President, siguro dapat i-phase out habang naayos na ang Universal Healthcare Law, gumaganda ang benepisyo ng PhilHealth, dapat dahan-dahan na sigurong i-phase out na ang MAIFIP. Kumbaga po, ang MAIFIP ay ang exemption and not the rule. Ang focus po dapat ay hindi ang pagpapalaki ng pondo ng MAIFIP, kundi ang direktang paglagak ng pera sa mga ospital at PhilHealth. Kung ang nais po natin ay ang lubusang pagsasaayos ng ating healthcare system, dapat po nating ituring ng MAIFIP ay bilang first aid lamang. Ang patuloy na pagtaas ng pagpupondo ng MAIFIP ay isang malaking detour mula sa landas ng tinatak ng UAC. Hindi natin gusto na pumipila at tila nanlilimos para sa pagpapagamot ang ating makababayan. Ang gusto po ng UHC ay ang mga pasyente walang utang na babayarin sa ospital, walang utang na loob sa mga politiko. As we approach the 10-year mark of the implementation of the Universal Healthcare Law, it is my fervent hope that we choose and work to keep its promise that the health of the Filipino people is protected at all times and never dependent on who they know or on the availability of discretionary assistance. But despite my reservations, I gave my affirmation in light of the following, Mr. President. First, I recognize the serious and tireless effort of our hardworking Chairperson of the Committee on Finance, Senator Wing Gatchalian, to ensure a transparent and reform-oriented budget. He ensured that every stage of the budget deliberations was not only thorough but open, inclusive, and accessible to all. Kahit po Noche Buena na, gusto pa rin niyang magtrabaho. Umiiwas po ata sa mga inaanak at gusto mamasko sa kanya. Biro lang, bro, Mr. President. Palibasa, single po at bachelor ang ating chairman ng Committee on Finance. Napakasipag ho talaga. Siguro po ay kaya na natatili isa sa mga most eligible bachelor si Senwin ay dahil sa kanyang dedikasyon sa kanyang trabaho. Yes, he is a bachelor but he is married to his passion which is public service. Lagi po siyang may date kay Inang Bayan. Second, there may be items we do not agree with, pero ganun po talaga ang realidad ng Bicameral Conference Committee. This is a process of reconciliation and compromise between two chambers. Sabi nga, we win some, we lose some. Pero simula pa lamang po, panalo na ang taong bayan dahil may win ang Senado. Our collective efforts have put forward reforms that funded our advocacy on transportation and mobility, support for our men in uniform, and the implementation of the Universal Healthcare Act, including addressing mental health concerns. Doon po sa DILG committee for which I was the subcommittee chair, maraming salamat po kay Senwin Gatchalian for giving me this opportunity to defend a big agency like the DILG. Ay para sa susunod, may magandang balita po tayo, Mr. President, para sa susunod na taon, inilagay natin ang budget ng kanilang ahensya ang mas mataas na subsistence allowance ng ating mga uniform personnel sa Bureau of Fire Protection, sa Bureau of Jail of Management and Penology and Philippine National Police at PPSC and ating pong Philippine Coast Guard. From the current daily subsistence allowance of 150 pesos, it will now increase to 350 pesos or additional 200 pesos a day next year. Now at par with the Armed Forces of the Philippine Subsistence Allowance. Just to be clear, Mr. President, yung sinabi po na ito po ay pork barrel, hindi po totoo. Dito po mapupunta yung pong sinasabi na ay mapupunta po sa ating pong uniform personnel. Para sa ating pong mga local government units, matutugunan na ang matagal ng kakulangan sa mga fire truck at fire stations. Sa susunod na taon, Mr. President, masisiguro na wala ng bayan o lungsod na walang fire station at nakatalagang fire truck. Ito ay bahagi ng pagpapalakas ng lokal na kakayahan sa disaster response at public safety. Ikinagagalak din po natin ang pagpapataas ng pondo para sa turismo at pagbibigay ng suporta sa lokal at motorcycle tourism. Magpapasalamat tayo kay Chairman, Subcommittee Chair Senator Loren Legarda for the support. Makakatulong dito sa patuloy na pagpapasigla ng turismo at dagdag kabuhayan sa ating mga lokal na komunidad. Sa DOTR naman, Mr. President, I'm also happy to welcome the support of our intervention, which was accepted, of course, and supported by the Chair of the Committee on Finance, the continued inclusion of funding for the foreign assisted projects or the FAPs of the Department of Transportation will now be lodged, majority of which will be now lodged under the program appropriations, while likewise securing a commitment to expedite the release of its funds under the unprogrammed appropriations. This will accelerate further the implementation and timely completion of our major rail infrastructure projects, consistent with program timelines and financing agreements to avoid any additional cost to the government. Lastly, we cannot afford a reenacted national budget. It will cause a further economic downturn and slow down our progress. What we need is to boost our economic activities and increase in government spending. Spending on the right priorities, the final version of the fiscal year 2026 General Appropriations Bill will be ratified today. Though not perfect, will help our country for the meantime to keep afloat amidst drowning controversies brought about by the flood control scandal. This representation is grateful for the opportunity to help shape the people's budget for 2026. Our ratification of the 2026 national budget today is only a step towards a people-centered budget. We will continue to do our job to ensure that the budget and its implementation will be free from corruption and that the people's money will be well spent. So again, we would like to congratulate our chair, the Committee on Finance, Senator Win Gatchalian, our leadership, of course, led by Senate President Vicente Soto, for this reform-oriented people's budget. Maraming salamat po, Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a quick manifestation that, as I mentioned earlier, Senator Panfilo Lacson and Senator Francis Kiko Pangilinan would also like to, their explanation of votes be inserted into the records, Mr. President, for the two gentlemen.
Yes, we will do that.
Next to,
The reservation of Senator Pangilinan, although positive, of course, yes, he
Yes,
voted yes.
yes,
No?
yes.
He was reservations on the authorization of the DA to enter a MOA with DPWH for FMR implementation. So only DA and LGU ang proposal niya, siyempre. Okay, we'll just place it on record and his voting, his explanation of the vote will be inserted into the records.
thank you, Mr.
So,
President.
who's next?
Mr. President, we'd like to recognize a distinguished colleague, Senator Loren Legarda, to give her
Senator
explanation of
Loren
vote.
Legarda is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. At the outset, allow me to thank and to congratulate our chair, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, for his thoroughness, for being calm throughout all the sleepless days and nights, aside from being bright, of course, and being very patient with all of us on both camps, whether it's a House of Representatives or the Senate, and even with the staff. For that, we're very, very grateful. And allow me to say that even if I was a chair for 5 years, I learned so much from Senator Sherwin Gatchalian. I would also like to thank the Senate leadership Senate President Tito Soto, Senate Pro Tempore Ping Lacson, who had guided us throughout the BICAM, even if you were not physically there, so that we could come up with the best and most transparent budget possible, as well as each and every member of the chamber.